Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Talking Reds fan channel. I am Stu, your host. I am back after my holidays of being in Greece for the last week, and I'm here to catch you guys up on all the latest news that's been happening over the last couple of days. Because I haven't been on stream for the last week, I'm going to go a little bit into the game last week. I'm going to go over the Isak stuff, the Guehi stuff, what the hell Newcastle are playing at the moment, which, let's face it, I don't think anybody really knows what's going on. I'm also going to dive a little bit more into Chiesa and the development on his Liverpool career as well. But before we do any of that, make sure you do leave a like on the video. We are still pushing our way to the 1,500 subs. We didn't reach that mark by the time the Bournemouth game started, but still, we reached an impressive 1,250 subs or over that now. And we continue to push for that other marker, which is brilliant. And I could thank you so much for making sure you do subscribe to the channel and leaving your likes on this and the interaction in the chat. I've got my chat window open, ready to go. And we already have one reply in there already. Daniel, hello, welcome to the show. Thank you very much. Not seen your name pop up here before, so I don't know if we've chatted at all, but you're very welcome along. And yeah, let's get into it. So I think first and foremost, I'm going to go over the game from last week. I am going to raise a couple of points here, maybe a little bit controversial, maybe not, but it's just my opinion at the end of the day. The game last week, bearing in mind, and I think everybody needs to take this with a little bit of pinch of salt, it's the first game of the season. I've seen some, I don't know whether they're trolls or just idiots more than anything else, but a few players dogpiling onto the likes of Kerkez, Frimpong and Wirtz. First and foremost, they're new signings. It doesn't matter about the price tag that they've had put on their head. They have just arrived into a new club, a new job, a new atmosphere, new teammates, people they work with. I don't know how many times I had to explain this, but it's difficult to bed in straight away. Yes, okay, they've been with the squad for, what, a month and a half? Something like that. Can you honestly tell me if you started a new job, you'd jump right in there and you'd fit right in straight away and just make sure that machine you've got into continues to work as it should do? No, it doesn't happen in normal life, and it doesn't happen in football. So to all the fans that are out there that criticised Wirtz, first and foremost, what are you doing? One game. Don't judge the players just on one game, especially at the start of the season where obviously it's hard to find your rhythm, and it takes a few games to get that going. So just leave the lads alone and let them get on with it. At the end of the day, we got the 3 points. Yes, it was a little bit iffy. Semenyo played very well, all things considered. That he got abused by one of our so-called fans. And I don't care whether you're a fan up in the stand standing or whether you're one of the disabled fans using one of the disabled spots. No need for that whatsoever. And I'm glad he has been banned from all stadiums by the FA and is under police investigation for that. But for the game itself, it was a really, really good game. I was really, really impressed with Ekitike. I thought he was my man of the match, jointly with Szoboszlai. Okay, Szoboszlai made a mistake for the second goal, but I thought overall his work rate again was absolutely excellent. But Ekitike really surprised me. He put himself about, and for such a gangly player, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Crouchy when he played for us. And that I can see the similarities because they're both very gangly, but they have very, very good close control. And the fact that he got a goal and assist, and he's 2 goals and 1 assist in his first 2 games, can't really complain about that at all. It's exactly the sort of start you want from a new striker at the end of the day. And let's say we got the 3 points. It's no complaints from me. Yeah, there were issues in defence. There were issues through the team, but we still got the job done at the end of the day. And that's all that matters. First game of the season, 3 points on the board. Boom. Next match, Newcastle. That's going to be an interesting one. Newcastle at St. James's Park, after everything that's been going on with the Isak stuff, that's going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so Daniel, what you're saying, I think Wirtz was good. Frimpong was very good. Kerkez is not. Yeah, I agree. We know exactly what we're going to get from Kerkez. And I can guarantee you he's probably played up against Semenyo more times than you can count in training. And I bet it's one of those battles that's always gone 50-50. I can guarantee it. Some days Semenyo will be better, some days Kerkez will be better. It's just the way it goes. Hello to Bruno de Cruz. Welcome along. Thank you very much. Damo's in the chat. As he says, make sure you like and subscribe onto the channel. Damon, what you said last night in versus Paul, but you definitely, yeah, exactly. I personally wouldn't class him as poor. I think there were some very good touches. There was some very intelligent passing going on. But I do think the physicality of the Premier League for Wirtz will come as a little bit of a shock. But I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that he will be an absolute baller for us. It's just going to take a little bit more of a bedding in period. As it does with most players, you very, very rarely get a player that will come into a team and just hit the ground running. The last one I can actually remember doing that was probably Diaz when we first signed him. And then maybe even before that, Salah with his first season. There are very few players that will do it. But we'll see how Wirtz especially gets on against the likes of Joe Linton and Guimaraes in that central midfield position when we play Newcastle next week. That's going to be an interesting little battle. Daniel saying Wirtz lacks physicality on the ball. He's great off the ball. Yeah, I think that's the main point I'm trying to make is like physically wise, he is going to have to toughen up a little bit because it's a lot more of a bully league. There's a lot more strength in the central midfield with the Premier League. So at the end of the day, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I have absolutely no doubt about that because he's a world-class player already, and they don't drop off like too easily at the end of the day, do they? But that leads me nicely onto Newcastle themselves and what is going on with them. What is going on with Newcastle? They don't seem to know their arse from their elbow at the moment. And by all accounts, looking at Craig Hope's page on Twitter this morning, everything is hinging now on this Wissa deal more than anything else. Brentford all of a sudden have said that they want more money. Wissa has now gone on strike. Bit ironic, considering. So Newcastle fans, you're going for a player that has gone on strike because he's trying to force a move through to you guys, but you're whinging about a player that you have that has gone on strike that wants to come to us. Hypocrites, it comes to mind. And I'll say that gladly with a smile on my face. Newcastle fans are hypocrites. It's as simple as that. And good morning, Prakash. And yeah, Daniel, yeah, Wirtz is way too good to flop. Way, way too good. Exactly. Mark, thank you for the agreement. It said, as I say, once we've played a few games, we'll get stronger. Exactly. It just takes a little while to get the rhythm. But back to Newcastle. And again, the most hypocritical club in the Premier League at the moment, I would say, having a go at Isak for going on strike. And apparently Isak's back in Sweden. From what I understand, I may have that wrong, but from what I understand, he's back in Sweden. His agent's gone back to Belgium, refusing point blank to play for Newcastle ever again. Newcastle are supposed to be registering a club record fine with him. I doubt that's going to impact him that much, to be fair. And now they're chasing Wissa. Wissa has gone on strike at Brentford, deleted all social media stuff, any connection with Brentford whatsoever to try and force this move through. And there you go. It's one of those. In a way, yeah, we can be. But I'm picking this moment to show the hypocrisy between the two clubs on this one. Newcastle fans, you can't have a go at Isak or Liverpool for this if Wissa is doing exactly the same thing that Anthony Gordon did a few years ago. Short memories and all that sort of stuff. But I've always said that Isak will be a Liverpool player by the end of the transfer window. Admittedly, I have said previously that I thought it'd be done this week or that week. I honestly thought that at that point in time, the way things were going. But for some reason or other, Newcastle just want to be stubborn about this. I don't think it's for the benefit of anybody now. I really don't. It's not a benefit for Newcastle. It's not a benefit for Isak, and it's not a benefit for Liverpool. Newcastle are missing out on 130 million quid here to go and spend on new players. They don't know that their arse from their elbow when it comes to transfer signings. They've been rejected by so many players, and their lists are limited on who they could go for now. And it's just a ridiculous situation to be in more than anything else because they haven't done things right. And I'll stick with this mantra, but like I said a couple of weeks ago, that by all accounts, Newcastle were informed of Isak's intentions months in advance, and they said that they would agree and give him the transfer this summer. And they've backtracked on this. Now, I've seen other pundits, other fan pages and all that sort of stuff going, well, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You're still under contract. Well, no. If you're promised something to happen and you don't stick to it when it comes to something like this, then it's bad. It's bad on Newcastle's reputation. And at the end of the day, I will put sole responsibility onto Newcastle for that. Without a doubt. It's their fault at the end of the day, and I will stick with that. No problem at all. Okay, let's have a little look at the comments. Okay, so how ironic indeed. I wonder how Newcastle fans are going to react because of the amount of abuse I've seen. Yeah, exactly. Nash. G'day, mate. How you doing? There was one YouTuber who is a Newcastle fan doing exactly the same thing. Not to name anybody, but I think you know who I'm saying. I could probably take a couple of guesses. There are some real idiot fan tubers. I've called a couple out already. Not any replies yet, but hey ho. It ain't like Isak ain't got a home in Sweden. He will tell me. And again, it's another thing. The Swedish one. I've read an article yesterday with the international manager, which I didn't realize at the time was John Dahl Tomasson, former Danish striker who played in Premier League, and he said he has spoken to Isak all the way through the saga, and he backs him. Now, my point on that is, if your international manager is backing Isak in this side of the argument, and bear in mind, John Dahl Tomasson was a former Newcastle player as well at one point, very briefly. If he is backing Isak, what does that tell you? If you got your international manager backing your corner, then surely that has to make the Newcastle fans realise, oh, hang on a second, perhaps it is our club that's not being run quite right. Perhaps it is us that has messed this up. Nobody else to blame besides Newcastle on this one. Absolutely nobody else to blame on it, as far as I'm concerned. Prakash. Yeah, squad will take time. Yeah, going back to what I was saying about the game, squad will take time, new signings, new systems, all that. And again, I did emphasize this, I think, in one of the chats I was in. Again, the whole Jota thing with Friday night as well, it was emotional. And you could see that again with Salah at the end when he was stood in front of the cop. You could see how emotional it was. It always was going to be. But again, that will get easier through the season. And we will progress. It's one of those things. I'm so looking forward to that Newcastle game on Monday, though. James, what you're saying, I think it'll be done after the Newcastle. Yep. I was kind of hoping it would be done beforehand. I'm really hoping it's done beforehand and we can actually start him. But I don't think that's going to happen now. I think it's going to be right down to transfer deadline day, personally. It just seems to be edging that way at the moment. No, that's what you're saying. Have you heard about the 3-year law on contracts and that act of it? Not heard anything about that. What's that about, Nash? AR, we need Guehi, Isak, and essential defensive midfielder. I can tell you right now, AR, Damo and me and the rest of us in the team here are majorly in agreement about the DM thing. Whether that's going to happen, I don't know. Again, offloading the likes of Tsimikas, who I think is probably off somewhere because it seems he got left out of the squad. Reece Williams and Calvin Ramsey, I wouldn't be surprised if they go. Reece Williams, I can't even believe is still at the club. Harvey Elliott, to be honest, I still would like to keep him. But again, it's game time. It's going to be so limited. He has got a major choice to make. Exactly. Same as any workplace. Relationships break if bosses promise things and go against their words. Do people generally want to stay with that workplace after the relationship breaks down? Case in point. There we go. That is probably the best way I could think to describe it, is that if you work in a place and you're promised stuff by your boss or bosses and those promises are not kept, do you really want to be working in that? Because that is the trust broken. And that's exactly what has happened with Newcastle and Isak. Edward, yeah, so first was okay first half, not good the second half. To be honest, I thought it was the other way around. But hey, that's just me. Yeah, it's all about giving them time to adapt. Yeah, I mean, again, this could be another tactic, thinking about it now, dragging it to deadline day to try and force us to spend more money. But does there come a point where we say no? and we just pull out of it altogether. I know the club obviously really, really, really want, and the fans really, really, really want Isak to come in as well. But do we just pull the plug altogether and possibly go for maybe one of Newcastle's other targets, like Samu Agahawa at Porto, or Lois Apenda at Leipzig, or something? I'm just spitballing names here. I'm not saying that they are the definite ones that I'd want, but or even Gonçalo Ramos could be a cheaper pickup from PSG, and he is an incredibly good striker as well. It's one of those that, do we cut our losses now? But then that leaves Isak in a real impossible position of trying to repair things at the club. But again, will Newcastle go all the way and not even sell him at all? Then what? Then what happens to Isak? Is he really going to come back into a team that has absolutely and utterly cut ties with him and just not play him for an entire season, or not play him until January and then maybe sell him in the January? And he could end up missing like sort of half to a full season of football by not playing at all. That is, I wouldn't say it's a major possibility, but it's not out of the realms of possibilities of actually happening. Does Isak just get left on the sidelines in the reserves for an entire season? If Newcastle are really going to be stubborn about it and really want to be vindictive about it, then optically wise, for Newcastle's reputation, that would be incredibly harmful for them and their popularity, so to speak. I think it's damaged already as is the way they've dealt with this situation, but doing something like that would be horrendous. Absolutely horrendous for them. Bear with me for 1 second while I have a drink. So, yeah, Bruno, going back to your comment, even Ibrahimovic is back in Isak. And you never want to mess with Ibrahimovic, he'll just kick your head off. Exactly. So, dream signing next summer would be Baleba. Could be difficult. Don't know what's going to happen with the United one. I don't think he's going to go to United this summer. It looks like they're going to try and get Hjulmand from Sporting Lisbon. So that could leave Baleba free for us as a target next summer. As I say, I don't think a DM will come in this summer. I really don't. So it's going to be a difficult one. I think that'll be next year. Newcastle should sign Samu and Strand Larsen from Wolves. That could be a reasonable pickup. But again, Elia Wahi and Gonçalo Ramos as well. Very, very good strikers as well. I think are very good options for them. I just don't understand why they're dragging their heels. I really don't. They know they got issues here, so they need to move quick. It's already done in my opinion. Again, I thought that, and that may still be the case. I did think that as well, but we'll see. We'll see. If we pull out the deal, then Newcastle became that. Yeah, and my memory is saying Wissa seals the deal. Yeah, I think today is going to be a big one for like sort of deals involving strikers, whether it's going to be Wissa going to Newcastle or whatever. Yeah, Edwards is an agreement there next summer for the DM. Adam Morton nailed on to come. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all, but I do think DM priorities may get shifted on to next summer. Obviously, depending on how successful we can be this year as well. Mark saying Newcastle only want to pay 40 to Brentford 150 to 60, but Newcastle wants us to pay top dollar. Yeah, and this is my problem, but it's also a problem that Wissa has with Brentford, because Brentford said they'd sell him for a certain price, and then they've turned around and said, no, we want more money now, because they know Newcastle have more money or will be getting more money. Very complicated money roundabout, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Brentford being a little bit greedy, Newcastle being a little bit greedy. I still think deals will get done. It's just a difficult one, and I'll come back around to it. Full circle. Newcastle, this is all on you. This is your fault at the end of the day. This isn't Liverpool's fault. It's not Isak's fault. If we've had it confirmed by the likes of Sky Sports and other main pundits that promises were made, then Newcastle, it's on you and solely on you. Forget about the fact that he signed a contract, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. It's on you. It is on you. This is where the dominoes start to fall. So yeah, Doak has gone to Bournemouth. Ouattara has gone to Brentford. Wissa will go to Newcastle, and then Wissa replaces Isak, and I replace my underwear. Fair enough. Yeah. Naj, what I've missed. So on the 26th of this month, Naj, is that what you're talking about? What is it? So what is this 3-year rule? You're gonna have to explain it to us in the WhatsApp group, dude, because I've missed this entirely. Oh, hang on a second. Let's see if I can find a little Google of this. Come on, get on there. 3-year contract rule. You're talking about the is it this Webster ruling? Webster is the Oh, is it this what? Is it this Webster ruling thing? I didn't even know this was the thing. Transfer. Sorry, guys, just give us a second. While I'm having a quick breeze through this. Something to do with, by the looks of it, after 3 contract, what players and clubs need to know. All right, so it is limited to 3 years. Anytime after that, they have maybe an option to cancel their own contract, if I'm reading that right, or something along those lines. That could be interesting. Ah, right, okay. Daniel, what are you saying? I think Morton is just nailed on for Liverpool. That's what the Palace side I said. Ah, right, okay. So, well, he is a northern lad. It wouldn't surprise me if he's from what was it, Blackburn? They got him from, because he's got a brother there still, I think. All right, cheers, Naj. So yeah, that could put a different spin on things. That if you're 3 years into your contract, football players do have the option, if they want to go down the legal route, that they can cancel their own contract after 3 years. Because any year after that, by the looks of it, is like an extra bonus or something on those lines. That does make things a little bit more interesting, to say the least. Let's have a quick little scan through Twitter before I want to come on to the subject that I really want to talk about. And has just put a comment in about it. You must have read my mind. Okay, so okay. So first one, Newcastle retain a firm interest in Jorgen Strand Larsen. Discussions at this point are taking place via intermediaries rather than club to club. Okay. That's intriguing. Tsimikas definitely leaving, but he's more likely to move abroad and not stay in the Premier League. Okay, fair enough. That's not so bad. And something come through on Pitchwire on Twitter. Liverpool confident on completing the Guehi deal. Talks are ongoing. Guehi's pushing for it a lot. And Palace still want a replacement before they get a green light. I have no idea what happened to the Diamonde transfer. No idea there. But again, it looks like these couple of transfers may be going down to the wire. We'll see. We will see. I'm just looking through a few other bits and pieces. Let's see. Nothing else that I've noticed. So, yeah, it looks like Tsimikas definitely on his way out. Whether that be abroad or the Premier League, who knows. Isak deal is still up in the air a little bit, but I do think that will get done by transfer deadline day, especially and the Guehi deal as well. Will we bring any more players in? I don't know, because there may have been a player who may have made his case to stay, and that is Federico Chiesa. Now, when we signed him last year, I was really excited about this. One, I know how good of a player he is. I mean, we just have to look at his previous stats over the years. I mean, this is a player that's won Football of the Year and Player of the Year in Italy. He's won a European Championships with Italy, and he was pivotal in that as well. And he's won 2 Italian Cups, Coppa Italias, over in Italy as well. With his record at Fiorentina, 153 games, 34 goals, 26 assists. And then with Juventus, 131 games, 32 goals, and 24 assists. That's a really good record. And no matter which way you look at it, we knew he was a good player. But unfortunately, he got that really horrible ACL injury, and it meant that he struggled to get his fitness back. And then obviously last season, he came in very unfit, and it just didn't really work out. But that goal on Friday, it didn't change my opinion of him, because I know he's a very, very good player, and I know he would do very, very well in our side. And I was a little bit gutted when they said that perhaps he was going to move on this summer. But by all accounts now, that has changed, and he is going to stay with the side, which means we could have actually saved ourselves a load of money, because he is a player who can play left, centre, or right-hand side. He can go right across that front three or play as a secondary striker. What do you guys think of Chiesa staying, first and foremost? I really want him to succeed. I'm happy for him to stay another season and maybe get a bit more game time. And if he can produce performances like he did against Bournemouth, come on with 25 minutes to go, get us a goal or get us an assist in a vital moment, then so be it. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer, and I'd be very happy for him to stay. But what do you guys think about sort of Chiesa staying on board? Also, I'm going to go back to If Chiesa is really staying, is there a world where the club stops chasing a winger and gets Wharton now? Well, again, that in itself is not a crazy story or anything like that. If Chiesa does stay, he gives us that winger option along with Ngamoa. That's pretty much our winger options or our attacking midfielder options sorted. Bringing Isak in, that's a striker issue sorted. So the next position would be the DM. That's not a crazy thing to think about. I think if we don't go for a winger, then why not? Why not go for a DM? Why not put in a cheeky £80 million bid for Baleba or an £80 million bid for Wharton and get them in straight away? Who knows? The transfer window has been utterly mental. Let's just put it that way. For not just for our club, but for every club. It has been extremely busy this summer, so anything can really happen. Wissa should leave Brentford now, 60 million. Yeah, I personally think that's too much. I don't think Newcastle will pay that. Jen, good day, hun. How are you doing? Gone on for too long. We need to move. Yeah, I know, but unfortunately, Newcastle are the ones being the douches here. Have to be careful. Right, so Newcastle have to be careful with this. So you mess up and Isak goes on strike 6 months, they are finished. And they'd be looking to get it. Yeah, exactly. So that's going to drive the price down. In the worst case scenario, if Newcastle just leave Isak in the reserves, that's his price going down, and they're not going to get as much money. Nowhere near it, in fact. To be fair, that'll be a great one. If Hugo scores against Newcastle and does the Isak celebration in front of the fans, I will laugh my head off. Saw a report, Bruno. Saw a report saying that we have given Newcastle a deadline for Isak. Is that true? I've not seen anything on that. To be honest, if you could let us know where the report was, I could go and have a look at it. By all means. And yeah, I've never seen a club player relationship break down like Isak and yeah, neither have I. And I do think it's kind of cheeky of, say, some pundits like Gary Neville and Ian Wright having to go at Isak for this when there have been plenty of players in the past do this. Again, I just mentioned it before. Anthony Gordon did exactly the same thing at Everton when he was trying to force a move through from there to Newcastle a couple of seasons back. Were there any complaints then? Nope. Wissa is doing exactly the same now. Any complaints? Nope. Just crickets. So just because it's Isak going to Liverpool, it just seems to be every time something involves Liverpool, it's dogpile on Liverpool about it. And it always is the case. I mean, the other day, we're used to it. We're used to the banter. We're used to the criticism and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're still going to get him one way or another. The Gunner Lowdown. Do you the clubs would encourage the web store? been done a few times with small amounts of players, but clubs. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the Webster rule. Say Nice has just mentioned it. Going to load down. I don't actually know much about it. I'll have to read into it. I didn't even know. To be fair, I didn't even know it was a thing up until now. So it's something I'll have a little dive into. It does sound like a bit of a it's one of the. It sounds like one of those things that you keep in your back pocket in case of emergencies, sort of thing. Like if you really, really have fallen out with your club and they're refusing to sell you and all that sort of stuff, kind of like the Isak situation is. He could be if that does happen, he could be the first high-profile player to do it. That's for certain. MM's to go and get Edison. He's free next. Is he? Ooh. That's interesting. That is interesting. Edison coming up for a free next summer, and he's not signing a new contract. Low transfer market value. That could be interesting. Kathy, what you say? Newcastle have absolutely no intention of signing. He's like replacement. Yeah, I mean, it does look like that. I think they're just being idiots. I really do. Tony, welcome along. Good to see you again, man. I like Chiesa. I'm sure Slottery rates him. Newcastle. To be honest, actually, by the sounds of it, what Chiesa said in the press, I think Slot does rate him, and they do seem to have a pretty good relationship. Because even Chiesa said, I think it was a couple of days ago, that him and Slot have had plenty of chats, and he's always been open and honest about him with sort of what his position is in the squad. But by the sounds of it, he may be just edging towards keeping Chiesa, as I say, as that winger replacement, and we don't have to sign a winger. Keeping in mind, we do have, sort of in our attacking midfield area, Gakpo, Engamoa, Wirtz, Ekitike, Salah, and Chiesa. That's technically 6 that can all play along those 3 points. So, is there a need for it? Maybe. But then again, do we go for not a Rodrigo, who would be really expensive as a winger replacement? Do we go for Fofana at Lyon, maybe, as a cheaper option? That's another possibility, and Chiesa still stays. Because Chiesa's predominant position is actually right wing. So he could back Salah up quite easily. Okay, let's have a little look at the comments. Basically, yeah, Kathy, completely agree. Newcastle are basically cutting their nose off to spite their face at this point. Yep, totally agree, hon. Totally agree. Nice, food for thought. If Isak doesn't get sold this window and they don't play him, we can get Isak for a cut price in January, and it'll be a bolt of electricity in the team, and it could work out better for us. I see what you're saying. So basically, we don't coast along to January, but we get a few results. Maybe 1 or 2 results don't go our way. We get Isak in the January as an extra oomph for us, and we cruise on to win the title in the second half of the season. I like your thinking. That's the way I'll look at it. Giving Newcastle a deadline could be an own goal, because if this happens, Newcastle could say to Isak, Liverpool walked away. They could say that, but in Isak's position, I'd be more inclined to believe what Liverpool say. So if Liverpool just go, look, we put a deadline on it. We don't want to lose you as a player, but at the end of the day, things are being dictated by the club that you have a contract with, and there's not much else we can do. I'm pretty sure Isak understands that, first and foremost. Let's have a little look. We should just put on Rio against Newcastle. Oh, God, yeah. Sticking Engamo on. Can you imagine how much he's going to rip apart? Are they still playing Trippier at fullback? I didn't see the team news. Because I've been away, I haven't managed to see all the teams and the results and stuff like that. So I don't know whether it was Trippier or Livramento that played at right back. But you stick Engamoa on for the last 15, 20 minutes running up against them. That'd be good. That'll be good. Diaz had better numbers than Fofana. True, but Diaz, we got top dollar for him. No doubt about that. Again, right. Very fair point. Taylor has raised a very good point here. We didn't get a Van Dijk at the time that we wanted him in the summer. We waited and then ended up getting him in the January. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Isak could come in at that point. looking towards the Champions League, to be honest, because we needed something last Jan, because we lost energy, and with him coming in January, could help us over the line in the league. And yeah, that's a fair point, mate. Really fair point. And I agree. Yeah, we did lose a little bit of energy in the second half of the season. Getting a player like that in the January time could be a huge boost as well. Yeah, totally agree, Kathy. I hope we stuff them on Monday. I really do. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be lively. I have a feeling that it's going to be very, very lively. There could possibly be a bit of tension in the air. Morning, Fireburn. Welcome along. Good to see you, bud. And again, I don't see any of the pundits saying the same thing about Gyökeres trying to force his move through from Sporting to Arsenal, because he did exactly the same thing. So it's always Liverpool being the bullies, blah, 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 whatever. But as I say, for the point I was trying to make about Chiesa is that despite his injuries, there is still a player there. There is definitely still a player there. And I think possibly this season, I mean, okay, there is, well, we're on the 19th today, and we've got until the 1st of September until the transfer window shuts, which is 2 weeks yesterday. Do I think Chiesa stays for another season? I think so. I think Slot could use him. And I do think a player is there. I'm hoping there's a player there. I don't know. I just really like the player. I like the guy. I love the fact that when he came in last summer, he was so enthusiastic and so happy. When I watched him in the interviews, when the club signed him and all that, he just looked so happy. And that spreads out among the fan base. It gets infectious. And that's what us supporters love to see, is when players come into the club, they're really excited, really happy, and they just want to get down to it. I hope it works out for him, because there is definitely still a player there. You don't win a Player of the Year award in Italy for no reason whatsoever. And you don't win a European Championship at international level without having some sort of talent. He has got the talent. He just needs to find it again and stay injury-free. So fingers crossed for Chiesa for this season. If he does stay, hopefully we get to see the best of him. That's what I'm hoping for. Right, let's have a look. Face it, whatever Liverpool do, we are painted at the bad. Yeah, that's about right. No doubt about that. Real lad, if you score against Newcastle, go and celebrate in Joe Linton's face. To be fair, the size of Rio up against Joe Linton, Joe Linton would probably just sit on him. If you can catch him, that is, because the guy's rapid. Chiesa scored 1 of 5 Nunez's league goals from last season in 20 minutes. Fair point. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't agree with this, like, sort of doing this tit for tat with clubs saying, oh, Liverpool are a racist club. No, and I did actually, I was on that incident, on the racism incident from the game on Friday. I saw a post by Fabrizio Romano, and I wasn't too impressed with it. So basically insinuating that the entire fan base was racist instead of singling out one person, which it was, because you could see it on TV. I saw it happen when I was watching the game. You could see it happening right then. I was like, when I saw the guy on the wheelchair wheel out a little bit and say something to him, I thought, that doesn't seem quite right. And then obviously the game gets stopped a couple of minutes later, and then that's what it is. It's not the entire fan base. It was one person. Fabrizio Romano, if you ever see this, that was a naughty tweet. Doing it for clicks like that and insinuating the entire fan base is racist. Not right. It's not. It was that one fan. He's got what he's deserved. He's been banned from every stadium in the country, and he's under investigation by the police. That's all you need. You do the time, you do the crime, you do the time. Simple as that. And that is what he's getting. But don't make it out like it was everybody in the stadium. It was one person. It was one person, and that was it. One idiot. One thing we have learned is that Slot's team are specialists at getting and keeping players fit. If they have really sorted Chiesa's injury problems, we may have a player. Yeah, I totally agree. That's the thing. One of the reasons why Slot and his team were brought in is because of their injury record, their fitness team and their health team and all that sort of stuff in the background have been absolutely superb last season, and they have a very, very good track record of keeping players fit. If they could do the same with Chiesa, we could have spent 10 million or easily on a 50 million winger if we can get him fit and up and running. So, yes, yeah, I agree, Gavin. There, I was proud of the Liverpool fans that pointed him out straight away. And again, on Twitter, I saw the next day a post from a guy who was sat 2 seats down from the guy, and he was one of them that called him out for it. And that's what you need. You need to call this stuff out. Genrev Carnivore, one bad apple in the bowl, just throw it out exactly before it infects the rest. Totally agree, Sammy. Isak is the best striker in the world at the moment. Actually, best? Top 3 for me, actually. I'm not going to say the best. I'll say top 3. Now, yeah, Liverpool pride themselves on being diverse. If a group started being racist at a game, they get one person didn't, and yeah, never welcome in Liverpool again. He should only himself to blame. That is it. Only himself to blame. Yeah, exactly. We don't want him at our club. Get him gone. And yeah, that's a fair point, actually. We struggled without Grav and his controlling nature. But again, this is where we could do possibly with another DM as well to cover that, because obviously Grav was suspended for that game. He'll be back for the Newcastle game. McAllister's position isn't exactly doing the same as that. He's a little bit too rash in the tackling. McAllister's position is better going forward, the same as Szoboszlai. But yeah, we could do with a little bit more of a foil for Grav in that central midfield. And for the love of God, I do not want to see Endo at right back again. Nope. That just did not work. That was a tactical mistake, for sure. Tactical mistake by Slot. But hey, we're only human. We all make mistakes. Okay, right. What time are we on? 42 minutes. Okay. Doing one final Twitter check for any transfer stories. Let's have a look. Any more for any more? Nope, no more transfer stories coming through as yet. But then again, it is only 11:15 in the morning. I did see a little bit about this. Yeah, I can understand the comparisons between Haaland and Isak, but they're two very, very different strikers. Haaland is more of just a power striker. Well, it's more of a bulldozer. The way I look at it, I mean, don't get me wrong, Haaland is amazing. He's got an absolute wicked left foot, great in the air, all that sort of stuff, and his record speaks for itself. He is just an utter goal machine. But when it comes to the touches, the link-up play, Isak is better. And Isak can still score as many goals, given the opportunities. And if you have Isak up front and Wirtz playing behind, laying up the chances for him, Isak could easily match Haaland for goals. I think overall his play is better than Haaland, but at the moment, Haaland's obviously goal record speaks for itself. And that's why it's always going to be a little bit difficult to compare the two, I think. Isak is a better striker, Haaland is a better scorer. Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're looking for in a striker, if you're just looking for a goal scorer, Haaland is your bet. But if you're looking for one who's going to complete the team and bring other players in with their chances, Isak is the one to pick because of his link-up play. It's simple as that. Excuse me. Right, okay. Was it for him? That's true. Mbappe was up for 180 million. Neymar actually got sold for like 200 plus million. So 150 million. Yeah, it still irks me, the prices. Yeah, I heard Gyökeres didn't look his best. But again, like any other team, and I said the same right at the start of the stream about our game, it's only the first game of the season. You can't really judge players until you get into like sort of mid to end of September, really, because at the end of the day, players want to find their rhythm. Could be injuries, suspensions, all that sort of stuff. So we all know how it goes in the Premier League. We all know how it goes in football in general. Some things just take a little bit more time. So I'm not going to judge our players. I'm not going to judge other players at other teams too much at the moment until we get a few games into the season. I think that's only fair. And on that note, I think you guys should leave a like on the video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to sign off for now. And I will be back on the Monday morning stream, because we didn't have one yesterday because I was still knackered from holiday. But I will be back next Monday to go over the weekend's games, any more transfer activity that has been happening. And obviously, next Monday on the evening time, we have the Newcastle game. So I'll be doing a little bit on that one as well to see how things are going. Well, thank you very much to everyone that's in the chat. As I say, don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.